All right, everybody, what is going on? This is your man L Jamal coming through with another edition of Never Out of Bounds. Of course, this is a place where you can say what you want as long as you got them facts. Today, I just have an update on what's going on in the sports world. Of course, with all this coronavirus happening, of course, we are underway with the MLB season. We are underway with the NBA season, and of course, hockey as well. Football is on the way, but we have some drama and some updates to discuss. More so in the realms of baseball, we have some drama here. We have some updates and scores from last night in the NBA, and I have just a couple news stories in the NFL to go over. Nothing really serious coronavirus to go over in the NBA or the NFL, mostly in the MLB. So let's get it started. So everything in the MLB so far has been situated in St. Louis. They have been in trouble. Now, last week they had a home game versus Milwaukee canceled due to a couple players testing positive, a couple members on the staff as well. By the end of the weekend, it will be a total of 6 with 3 staff members, I believe, and 3 players. However, that number has significantly gone up over the weekend to 13. Apparently, there has been, well, since the MLB is not in a bubble, the same bubble like which the NBA is doing. Also, I've been hearing the NHL, of course, hockey is doing this as well. They're having a player bubble, of course, strict regulations, so on and so forth. The MLB and Commissioner Rob Manfred has been lazy. We'll say, let's just say, not necessarily lazy, but lax in terms of bringing players in. And it seems that it has come back to haunt him because, again, we're up to 13 players and staff members for the St. Louis Cardinals that have tested positive. This is the second most, I believe, on a team next to the Marlins. The Miami Marlins actually played their first game last night. We will go over that in just a minute. They played their first game last night since July 26th because 18 players on their team had tested positive. Now, the sources of this exposure to COVID is being, well, I do believe that Rob Manfred is throwing players under the bus because there was no real set regulations about that. And just in terms of what I've seen and what I've researched, it does not really look as though he's really put his foot down or made any type of protocols like the NFL is currently doing. They've been currently working with the Players Association, testing, working on testing how to deal with outbreaks. It just seems to me, especially with this quote that I'm going to read from you, coming from an actual player from the Cubs in just a second, that Rob Manfred in the MLB has not been doing that. But again, like I said, there was originally 6 players from the Cardinals to test positive over the weekend. Now there's 13. The source of all this is they're saying from, of course, social escapades. Again, I'm not saying the players were right and they're wrong or whatever, but you got to be protected. If you're going to go into that place, maybe you wear a mask, maybe you observe 6 feet, But apparently the guys had gone to some type of casino after a Twins game. The same thing with the Marlins after a win in Miami or a game in Miami. They will go on to will go to a nightclub or a bar. So again, exposing themselves, going to these closed confined places, I guess not taking some of these precautions seriously, and then there you go. So Miami, of course, has not played a game since the 26th. They actually had not played a game since the 26th until yesterday, and as far as St. Louis is concerned, they have not played any games yet. Of course, Rob Manfred does not want to quit. He does not feel, well, of course, there's too much money to be made. Let's just be honest here. But this is a quote. I think it's significant because it's coming from a player of a high-profile team. They're recent, relatively recent world champions. This is Steven Souza, an outfielder for the Chicago Cubs. He went on to say, "I'm going to be a little biased here, but I just don't think that we've handled this well since the beginning. Since the beginning, very well. I don't think Manfred has done for the sport. I don't think what Manfred has done for the sport has been very good. I don't think that everything was publicly. I don't think that the way everything was publicly humiliated was good. I just don't think it's been good. So he went on to say that there was some public humiliation, and I guess that's when Manfred was, calling out players, holding them, trying to hold them accountable. I called it throwing them under the bus, saying that players need to, basically, he said that players need to act right and, follow the protocols, or he could shut the league down, which we know he's not going to do. First of all, he was bluffing when he said that, but it's kind of difficult to expect players or people to adhere to something where there's no protocols to. So I think that's the MLB's problem right there. Manfred, he missed out on, setting up a bubble or setting up some type of, some type of real regimented system on how to deal with this. And again, he's dealing with this situation where multiple players on multiple teams are testing positive for this virus. Now, good thing for them is they're athletes. They should be relatively healthy. A lot of these, I would say, I don't want to. It's again, you don't want to play that game. I'm not a doctor, but I would say that a lot of these players, majority of these players, are gonna be okay, but you don't know, and you don't want to. You don't want to play that game. You don't want to put that out there. But let's move on to the scores from last night. We're gonna pick up with the Twins beating up on the Pirates 7-3. The Pirates, again, even with the struggles this year, even with a shortened season, even with all the drama going on, they still can't get their act right. 7-3 win for the Twins. Moving on, we got the Rays beating up on the Red Sox 5-1. Up next, we have the Braves beating up on the Blue Jays in some interleague action. 10-1 is the final score there. Up next, we have an Ohio battle between the Indians and the Reds. Cleveland gets the best of Cincinnati in that one, 4-2. Up next, we have the Nationals beating the Mets 5-3. Moving on, we have a couple more games here. Oh, the Marlins, in their first action of the year since getting everybody sick in July, they were able to get a win against the Orioles, 4-0. The Marlins are now 3-1 on the year. The Orioles moved down to 5-4. For the Marlins, they were led by second baseman, at least offensively, they were led by second baseman John Birdie. He would have two hits and an RBI. First baseman Jesus Aguilar, and also defensive. What am I talking about? Defensive designated hitter. Don't worry about me. Matt Joyce. They were both bringing runs as well. Pablo Lopez would get the start on the mound. He would go for 5 innings, only giving up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, and also 7 strikeouts. Moving on, we got the Chicago White Sox looking pretty good this year, having a winning record for the first time in a while. This is early, but we'll see what happens. They beat the Brewers 3-2. Up next, we have the Cubs beating the Royals 5-4. The Giants, they get beat on by the Rockies 5-2 is the final score there from last night. The Rockies are now 8-2. The Giants are 5-7. For the Giants, they were led by left fielder Steven Duger. Offensively, he would have a 2-run double, and pitcher Kevin Gausman had a difficult day on the mound, to say the least. 5 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, but he did have 7 strikeouts. For the Rockies, they were led by right fielder Charlie Blackmon, 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Third baseman Nolan Arenado would also score a run as well as an RBI. Designated hitter Matt Kemp and also left fielder Sam Hilliard would also have RBIs as well. And pitcher Erman Marquez would get the start, going for 7 innings, only giving up, he did give up 6 hits, but only gave up 2 runs. He also had 9 strikeouts as well. Moving on, we got the Astros beating up on the Diamondbacks. I'm not surprised by that one, 8-2. The Dodgers get a win against the Padres 5-2, and we also got the Mariners here. The Angels here getting the win against the Mariners 5-3, and finally, of course, and what I like to see, the A's beating the shit out of the Rangers 5-1. I love it. The Rangers only got 1 RBI from their first baseman, Todd Frazier. He's been their one glimmer of hope offensively. So as of late. But moving on to the A's, Mr. Right fielder Stephen Piscotty, he had a walk-off grand slam. And by the way, this is the second time in the year that the A's have done this. Nobody has done it 3 times in a year. So the A's could make history. I would like for them to just go to the playoffs and maybe win a World Series. That's fine too. Third baseman Matt Chapman gets an RBI, and pitcher Jesus Luzardo gets to start, going for 5 innings. He actually does get the win as well, qualifying with the 5 innings, only giving up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, and 5 K's. Let's move on to the standings in the American League East. We have the Yankees on top. 8-1 is their current record. At number 2, we have the Orioles. They are 5-4 at 3 games back. A little bit surprising because in so many recent years they've showed so much dysfunction. So to be in second place right now, despite what's going on, I will give them a good pass for that. That's a good job for them. Number 3, we have the Rays here. They are 5-6. They are 4 games back, and rounding out the bottom, we have the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. The Blue Jays are 3-5. The Sox are 3-8. That's not good in Boston. Explain, y'all. Y'all always talking shit about how good y'all team is. Y'all always bragging. Y'all trashed the last few years. I'm calling y'all out. In the AL Central, the Twins are on top with a 9-2 record. The Chicago White Sox are 7-4. They are 2 games back. The Tigers and the Indians are 3.5 games back. However, actually, they are both 500 as well. But the Tigers are 5-5, and the Indians are 6-6. And at the bottom here, we have the Royals at 3-9. That's not surprising to me there. Out in the AL West, we have the A's here at 7-4. At the second place spot, we have the Astros here at 6-4, so that makes them a half game back. Of course, I know for a fact this AL West is going to be a tight race, at least between the A's and the Astros. The Angels, I don't know what you're going to get from them there at the third place spot in 4-7, especially right now with Shohei Ohtani out. He's their jack of all trades pretty much. He's a pitcher and a designated hitter, and yeah, so he's out with the injury. He's always getting injured. He's soft. So I don't know. Yeah, Angels, y'all need to get it right. At number 4, we have the Rangers here at 3-6. And finally, we have the Mariners here at 4-8. Again, they just seem to wallow in the garbageness. We're gonna go out to the NL East, where we have the East. We have the NL East here. Yes, the Marlins are leading. Don't buy too much into this. They have not played since July 26th. Like I said, up until last night, they are currently 3-1. Who knows what the rest of the season is going to bring? They still have players out right now. They got kind of lucky last night. The Orioles are still trying to find themselves. So I don't know. At number 2, we have the Braves. This is the real winner of the division that I see. They are currently 8-4. They just seem to be balanced. Of course, we have Freddie Freeman coming back from his illness to be a baller. So I like. And of course, Ronald Acuna Jr. So he's a definite MVP candidate. So I got the Braves winning this division here. I know I'm calling it early, but yeah. At number 3, we have the Nationals here. I think the Nationals can give them a run for their money. Currently, the Nationals sit at 4-4, so they're at 500. Moving on to the bottom, we have the Mets here at 4-8, and of course, the Phillies here at 1-3. Of course, they haven't played so much either. I believe they just recently had a game canceled with the Yankees. So again, as far as the postponements of games, this is rampant, and I think that was a problem that Rob Manfred had as well. He's already acknowledged that a lot of teams won't even make it to see 60 games. So in terms of playoff seeding, it's going to be based on winning percentage. Moving on to the NL Central, we have the Cubs here at 9-2, and right behind them, sitting 4 games back, we have the Reds at 5-6. I don't expect too much out of the Reds. Of course, I'm surprised with the Cardinals right now at 2-3, but again, they have a whole bunch of COVID worries to worry about. They sit at the third place spot at 2-3, and then rounding out the bottom, we have the Brewers, which is surprising because last year the Brewers were contending for a playoff spot. So they are sitting here at number 4 in the NL Central as of now at 3-5, and at the bottom, a team I'm not surprised by is the Pirates. They are 2-9. Moving on to the NL West, we have the Rockies here at 8-2. Right behind them, we have the Dodgers at 8-4. That's 1 game back for them. The Padres, surprising me as well at 7-5, playing really good baseball. Just 2 games back from the lead. Right behind them, 2 games behind them actually is the Giants. Again, another surprising thing to me. But again, I think the Giants have been a little bit on a downtrend the past few years. Say what you want. I just been observing this, so it's not really a surprise for me. I'll get into more of the Giants. I gotta look at their games some more to really figure them out. I don't watch too much. I'm an A's fan, as you can tell. I love the A's. I'm more into them. So sorry, I need to not be as biased, but yeah, I'm gonna watch some more Giants stuff. I'll get back to y'all about how I feel about them. But the Diamondbacks, they are trash. I don't expect too much for them. I know it sounds harsh, but they're gonna probably be in fifth place by the time the season is over. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Let's move on to the sorry, not the MLB. We passed that. Let's move on to the NBA now. Like I said, no real big news stories to go over, really. Let's just get into some scores from last night. We got the Nets beating the Bucks, 119 to 119, to 116. For the Nets, they were led by Timothy Luwawu Cabarrot. If I said that wrong, forgive me. He would have 26 points and 3 rebounds, and Garrett Temple would have 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. For the Bucks, they were led by, of course, Giannis. He would only have 16 points in this game, a little bit down. I don't know what he's dealing with right now. I haven't heard too much coming out from Milwaukee, any news, but 16 points is a little off for him. He must have had a difficult shooting night. But it's kind of weird because Milwaukee as a team shot better. They shot 47% from the field compared to 41% from the net. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't shoot. Maybe he didn't have that great of a shooting night. But Kyle Korver had 13 points and 2 rebounds, and Dante DiVincenzo, Ersan Silva, and Frank Mason III would all have 11 points as well. Also back to the game, some little notes here. The Nets would also be out rebounded 54 to 42, so a lot more second chance opportunities for the Bucks, a lot more defensive looks like possessions for the Bucks in general, but again they lose by 3. 30 team assists for Brooklyn, so they passed the ball really well. That's a good note for them. And Milwaukee would go on to have 18 turnovers. I think that had a lot to do with it as well. This is definitely an upset. Brooklyn came in as a 19-point underdog. This was the largest since 1993. Go figure. I'm not surprised. Again, they're doing all this without KD and Kyrie, which leads to say something. I think KD is a really good player, but again, about Kyrie, I don't know if he's all that. He's a little bit overrated. We'll have that discussion later. The Mavericks beat the Kings 114 to 110 in overtime. The Suns beat the Clippers 117 to 115. And when I say Kyrie is overrated, never mind. I don't even need to explain all that. Let me get back to these scores. I'm trying to explain about that. The Pacers beat the Magic 120 to 109. The Heat beat the Celtics 112 to 106. And my boys, the Blazers, beat the Rockets. We are looking good so far. Again, I'm going to break this down in just a second, though. They do beat the Rockets last night, 110 to 102. For the Rockets, James Harden would have 23 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. Jeff Green would have 22 and 6 rebounds coming off the bench. And Daniel House would have 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. For the Blazers, they were led by Dame. He would have 21 points, 8 assists, and 9 rebounds. CJ McCollum would add 20 points to that, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. I think that's optimal Portland basketball. I think if they're getting 20 plus points, we're looking at a W just about every time. That being Dame and CJ. Of course, you got Yusuf Nurkic. He's coming back from injury looking really well. 18 points, 19 rebounds from him. He also had 3 assists. And Gary Trent Jr. would have 16 points and 2 rebounds coming off the bench. And Melo would also have 15 points and 11 rebounds to add to that. A couple takeaways from this game. I think Portland has a good shot. I mean, a lot of people hold them as some dark horse. And being a fan, I have to be a little bit more. I'm a little bit more critical. Or maybe I am a little bit more critical than your average fan. I think offensively we have the capability to keep up with any team nightly, just about. And I think that's cool. Offense can win games. But we give up a lot of points as well. I was watching the game with the Celtics the other night, and we were getting straight up torch, man. You got to be able to do that, especially on the perimeter. There were plays that Dame was getting his ass handed to him by Kemba. And a lot of those matches in the playoffs, especially in the conference finals, are going to be, position by position. So I don't want to see Dame do good here in these nights only to get ate alive by somebody in the playoffs. I don't really want to see that. CJ as well. CJ is sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. I think again for Portland to be really as optimum as they would like to be, both of those guys can be firing at all cylinders possibly every game. 20 points plus for them two guys. That's where they need to be at because again, I don't see the standout wing player that they need. They have not addressed that. They need a really, I mean, they need for them to really be elevated. They wasted their time getting somebody like Carmelo. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They really needed a dynamic wing score or 3 and D there. I don't buy Carmelo. I mean, again, you can. I love Yusuf Nurkic and what he can do to some extent. He's a great big man, but you're missing out on a really solid wing scorer, either power forward, smaller power forward, or a small forward for the Blazers. I'm sorry. I've noticed this about this team. They're missing that. And without that third really reliable scorer, that extra X factor, this team is really good, but it's not championship good right now. I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if we were to make it to the at least the Western, even the Western Conference championship again. I just don't. It's a little bit inexperience on the bench, and again, we lack a real dynamic wing scorer or 3 and D, 3 and D type wing guy. I don't. We need that. I don't see how we competing with anybody else without that. I don't see how we beat the Clippers without one. I don't see how we beat the Lakers without that. Sorry, and I'm a fan, but I don't like the. I need another wing scorer to really feel comfortable about this team. I mean, right now I'm just like, we're solid, but we have a lot of and defensively we have a lot of work to do. I'm going to say that as well. But I'm going to move on from the NBA. We're going to wrap everything up with the NFL. Not too much to go over here, like I said, in terms of real devastating coronavirus news. More so just with players and personnel. You got your boy Antonio Brown. He will officially be serving an 8-game suspension when the season starts. That's if he is joining a team. Of course, this was because of his behavior that was, detrimental or went against the team's conduct policy. Of course, he is currently serving a 2-year suspension for, of course, all the drama he's been involved in over the past couple of years or just the past year or so. There has been some interest gaining from him. Well, there was some from Seattle. I don't know how serious they are about doing it as of now because of the 8-game suspension or who would be at this point. We are dealing with somebody who is 32 years old. Again, age is relative to an extent, but at the same time, how much does he have in the tank? And what if we don't play this year at all? And that's a whole nother year wasted. So teams got to think about that as well. I don't know what they're gonna do with this guy. He went on to say, I'm paraphrasing his quote, of course, but he's glad for the opportunity, of course. He wants to become a better version of himself. And, all that jargon. But we'll have to see. He said things like this before. We'll have to see that he's committed to that. And I think he's a really good athlete. I think he definitely is in shape to play. I don't know what another year of inactivity would do if this season were not to be played out. But I think if we were to start, pretty soon, I think he will be ready to play. Is he the all-star receiver that he once was? We'll have to see that. I definitely think if he goes to Seattle, he has that opportunity to do that because, of course, he has a MVP caliber quarterback throwing him the ball, a Super Bowl winner, and Russell Wilson. So I think you have a situation here. If a team wants to take a chance on him, they just got to wait. And a team like Seattle, I think they have an opportunity to wait. But they might need actually looking at that wide receiver makeup, they might need some extra help, and could they possibly wait, waiting for somebody like Antonio Brown? Possibly. I think that could, especially if they're able to salvage, and I don't think, not having Antonio Brown or not having a dynamic receiver for them right now would, put them in a situation, but it would help, tilt that edge in their favor come November, December, when he's able to play December and even January football. So he will be a factor if he's able to suit up. Will he be able to suit up? That is the question. Moving on, one more piece of news here. It is official that the XFL is back. How and in what way, we'll have to see in the future, but it has been bought by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for, I think it was $15 million, in my opinion, which is a steal, because in reality, I think to run that and to really set it up properly, it's going to be a lot more to do all that. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to wish him all the best. So it is back, of course. I'm not too sure what his direction is going to be with it. Of course, it's still going to, of course, be football, but we don't know what presentation The Rock wants to go with it. We don't know what he wants to do with it. Of course, he's, he put in the money, so we'll see what happens with that. But all right, y'all, I'm calling it a wrap for today. I'm signing out. I got to get ready for work soon. So if you're looking to get in touch with me, I'm going to leave my links all there for y'all. Please subscribe. Please like this and share this. It means a lot to me. And I will be back soon. I am working on my Big Daddy review, of course, starting Adam Sandler. And eventually, I'm going to be doing a compare and contrast two gangster or two mafia games. Mafia is 1 and 2. Godfather 1 and 2. I can't do Mafia 3 because it's too far out. It's on a different platform, so it's a little bit. But I wanted to compare the early Mafia series, and Godfather. I think they're a lot similar. I think they're different. Is there one that's better? I will tell you. Nah, it'll be just be my opinion. I'm just fucking with y'all. All right, y'all. I miss y'all. I love y'all. I love talking to y'all. I hope y'all have a good day, and I'll holla at y'all later.